Hello everyone, it's Graham from Lakeside, and this will be part 4 of the Class 50 O-Gauge Just Like the Real Thing video. And what you see in front of me is the breakdown of the motor bogie. After the successful run yesterday, as you saw on part 3, now is the time to start assembling for real. So I've done a bit of homework on the wheels. I want to check up. There is a PDF online talking about Slater's wheels, and one of the things which was concerning me was the isolation of the wheels between the the axles and the wheels. There didn't seem to be any form of isolation. However, what I didn't realise was that all Slater's wheels are really made up of 3 components, and what you have is, if I can get that in focus, I think that's it. What you have is the outer rim, which is steel, the inner boss, which is also steel, and the black inner part here is like a nylon material. And all 3 components are then moulded together to give one unit, and you can see on the back face here of the other wheel, that's also the nylon component. So that nylon there is the insulator. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought that was just black paint on a steel wheel, but it's actually 3 components. So the isolation is done for me, so I haven't got to worry about that, which is excellent news. So there it is in all its glory. This part here is a sheet of etched brass, and these are the brake. These are the brake rods which have to be inserted. Now these really are the bits which are causing me the problem, in the fact that I have to go up to a certain stage of assembly, and then fit the wheels, and then these can be fitted to the outside. There's 2 sets per wheel, one on the inside of the wheel, one on the outside of the wheel. So what I'm going to do is to assemble it right up to the stage where everything's fitted, apart from the wheels and the outer brake linkages. So the brake shoes will be on, everything will be on, and it will all be etch primed like this. So the main body shell, what I've got to do is clean this up, take all the grease off, wash it, and then etch prime it, which is, as I say, like this, and the etch primer is etched into the resin or the metal, whatever it is, it tends to etch into it. So it's really quite a firm base for any other paint to go on. Spray it black, matte black, and likewise with all the other components like the sides here, they will be etch primed and sprayed matte black with all the componentry on it, and then it'll just be a case, when I say just be a case, it'll be the next stage will be popping all this together and gluing it all on, until we get to a finished stage. So what I've done, I've broken down the number 1 bogie, the motorised bogie, in its component form, which is what you see here. I've put exactly the same wheels and the same axles. I was careful that I didn't mix them up. All the bushings the same, because what I didn't want to do is assemble it all after I've painted it with, say, that bush on this axle and that cog on that axle and so forth, because yesterday it was running absolutely perfect. It was smooth as silk. Now in theory, if I take it apart, put it back in the same configuration, the same should happen. There might be a slight tweak as regards tightening the chain, or not quite tightening the chain so much. There may be little tweaks like that, but at least I know that all the components are going to be the same. I've checked the gearbox now, and that is well and truly nicely oiled. Let's get this into focus. There we go. That's all nice and well and truly oiled and run in, as you can see. So everything is now coated nicely with moly grease and a little bit of oil on the bearings, and that's it. But it's running nice and sweetly, nice and smooth. So it's all ready now for the next stage, which I say is the spraying, etch priming, including all that lot in there, which has to be done separately. I shall lay that out and spray those so that I can pop those straight onto the bogie and the side frames, and then when they're on, I can then spray the whole thing satin black, pop the motor and axles on, and the last outside brake linkages. That should be job done. And then of course I've got to do the same with the second bogie, which is probably going to be a lot simpler because there's no motor and gearing, any chain, cogs. So there we are. So that is part one of part 4 of the video. I shall come back at a later stage when I've done all this and got it up to perhaps the final stage where it should all be sprayed as regards the primer etch primer, should I say, and then after that it will be a case of spraying it matte black. So I will speak to you later. Bye for now. Hello everyone, it's Graham from Lakeside. Okay, so this is part B of video 4, and where we left off last time was the whole bogie was in complete dismantled stage and ready for priming and painting. So it's obviously been primed, etch primed, and I've now sprayed it the matte black, which I wanted it done. The reason for that is that the matte black is the base for when it was new, and then I will now assemble it complete and then weather it at a later stage. So the stage of play now is that it's all now assembled. Let's see if I can pick this up and show you. We now have, if I can get this in focus, right, so now we have all the brake shoes on, the connecting rods, adjusters for the brakes just here, these three running along the side here, and they are on the inside as well as the outside, along with the shoes. So that whole assembly is now complete, and likewise, if I can pop that on the track, the side frames as well. You have the steps, the brake cylinders here. There's 3 of those. One is underneath the steps here. So that is now ready for installation, and that literally just slips on. That should be this side here. If I can find the holes, that is, which I can't, upside down and back to front. Let's do it this way. Okay, that's one. And the other one fits on the other side. like that. And that is now the complete bogie. The wires just come off the top here. Very fiddly this is. This is obviously just temporary wire for the moment. Bear with me. Get it. So that is the completed power bogie. So the next stage will be to really fit a decoder, because the other bogie, this one, that's a straight repeat of this minus the motor, of course, and all I need to do really now is to install this into the chassis. I say all. Install this into the chassis and wire up the decoder. Now the reason why I want to do that is because if I've got the completed power bogie, the next real stage will be to get that decoder wired up to this, so that is the next hurdle out the way. Again, it won't be mounted into the chassis, it will just be laying to one side, and I will temporarily wire it up just so that I know that at least that bit's done. Then I can then go on to finishing this. Then I can put that and the other bogie to one side and concentrate on the chassis, which would be installing the loudspeaker for the sound, and then after, once I've got the sound going and movement on the bogie, then I can concentrate on the smoke unit. So there's like 3 separate stages which I need to go through. Once I'm happy with the movement, the sound and then the smoke in a temporary format, then I can take it all apart again. Well, not the bogie, but take the bogie off the chassis, the other bogie off the other end of the chassis, and then start building up the chassis itself. I've got to make up a plastic hard sound box for the speaker. I've got to make up a mounting point for the decoder and a mounting point for the smoke unit. But obviously, first of all, what I want to do, the same way I did with this, is to make sure it all works first. Once I know that it all works, then I can make up the proper parts for it. So with this, please God let it go. It's been running fine for the last 5 minutes. So it does move, absolutely fine. And if I pick that up without the wires falling off, hopefully. Perfect. Now, the nice thing about this now is that it's all painted up. I haven't got to touch it anymore. It's completely finished, apart from me gluing these side pieces on, which I would do just prior to weathering the whole finished locomotive. So these are going to be remaining in the off position until I'm ready to weather it all as one lump. And the reason why I want to leave these off is so that I can take those off and I can get my airbrush in and weather the inside of this, put them back on, and then I can weather the outside. So that's the reasoning for that. The other thing I've done today, or last night and today, is I wanted to get a flywheel put on the top of here. Let's just zoom in a bit. Oh. Creak of the camera. Right. I want to get a flywheel for the top of this motor. Now, Slater's, who I got this motor from, do actually sell flywheels for the top of this. But I thought, well, as I work for an engineering company, they should be able to make one of these for me, no problem. So I designed a flywheel for this, and I've given the dimensions to the chap at work, and he's going to make one up for me. And what it would be a piece of turned brass, 30mm diameter, 10mm deep, and with a 2mm hole in the middle to take that 2mm spindle. That will then drop over the top, and it will be fixed by two 3mm grub screws. Now what I'm going to do, I've designed it so that I'm going to have two grub screws. Now it's not because it will need two grub screws to keep it on the spindle, it's because of the weight distribution. If I put one hole in the side of the flywheel with a grub screw, that's going to put it off balance. So because you've taken some brass out where you've drilled it, the hole, and tapped it, plus you're putting in a grub screw and nothing this side. So to keep it all equal, I'm going to have it so that it's drilled both sides, tapped both sides with two grub screws. That means that it's going to be as equal as I can get it. So it's as simple as that. Now what that will do, it will should give me a very, very nice smooth start and finish. Because of the flywheel, it's almost like a gyroscope really. Because of the torque it will need to slow down and start up, it should give this motor a little bit more of a smoother start than that, which is not too bad, but I can get it better than that, I know I can. And also don't forget that this is on DC and not DCC, and obviously when I code in that decoder, I can create the acceleration I want from the programming. So the next stage really is that's finished. Pop on the flywheel once I've got it made. Perhaps this time next week should have that. But in the meantime, what I will be doing is connecting the decoder up, and that will be in number 5 of the sequence of videos. So on number 5, that should be the wiring up of the decoder to give me movement and sound, but the sound will be rubbish because the speaker itself will be not in a any form of box. It will just be a speaker laid onto one side, so it's not going to give the greatest of sounds, but as long as I can get sound of it, that's all I'm worried about at this stage. And what I intend to do with that is to do this live. I'm not going to cheat, I'm not going to pre-wire it or anything, I'm going to do it live, which is going to be nerve-wracking because you've seen the size of that decoder. It's not straightforward. I've got to read the instructions, I've got to know where the wires go on those 3 terminals, and I will be a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, because I really do not want that to go pop on me, because that's a lot of money, and if that goes pop on me, I'm going to be a little bit angry with myself. So it's going to be a case of reading, rereading and rereading the instructions to make sure I get it all right. If I don't, there'll be a little puff of blue smoke coming out of the decoder, and that will be you might hear a few expletives on the video if that happens, but that will all be done in the next video, which will be number 5. But hopefully you can see the way I'm tackling this. It's working out incredibly well, this kit really is. I am so pleased with this kit. Everything fits, and it's such a joy to build. It really is, and that comes from just like the real thing, the kit. Slater's provided the wheels and the motor, as you know. Everything is fine with that. It's just such a good combination. I've had no problems at all with this kit so far, touch wood. So that's it folks for now, until I do the next update, which will be version 5, when I will be wiring up the decoder. So hopefully you've enjoyed that bit, and take care, and I will speak to you again soon. So bye for now, and look out for number 5. Bye.